Call the member for McEwen.
Deputy Speaker, I move the motion in relation to the centenary of the Republic of Turkiye in the terms which appears on the notice paper. I rise and celebrate the centenary of the Turkish Republic. I extend my congratulations to their people and the thriving Australian-Turkish community in Australia. I especially extend my regards to the Turkish Embassy and my good friend, His Excellency Ambassador Gezer. As a co-chair of the Parliamentary Friends of Turkey, I'm proud to say that I've been able to deepen my own understanding of relationships Australia has with Turkey. As we celebrate this landmark year with our friends from Turkey, we look to continually building our already strong relationship, a relationship that is built on a shared history and genuine conversations, a relationship built on the aspiration for our families. As many would know, the friendship between Turkey and Australia began in the decades following the Gallipoli campaign. Gallipoli, of course, was the foundation for Australia's military legacy and indeed a foundation for the future Republic of Turkiye. As many will say, that this friendship can be attributed to one man, the commander of the Turkish forces in Gallipoli, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, who would later become the first president of the Republic of Turkiye. A fierce builder and advocate for his nation during his 15-year rule, many sweeping changes were introduced, political, legal and socio-economic. He was an extraordinary leader and peacemaker. Kemal said in 1933, "I look to the world with an open heart full of pure feelings and friendship." And in 1934, he extended an olive branch to our nation, uttering the famous words, "Those heroes that shed their blood and lost their lives, you are now lying in the soils of a friendly country. Therefore rest in peace." There is no difference between the Johnnies and the Mehmets to us, where they lie side by side here in this country of ours. You, the mothers who sent their sons from faraway countries, wipe away your tears. Your sons are now lying in the bosom and are at peace. These are the words of mark of respect, a mutual respect built between two nations. The respect extends to more than just words. In 2015, marking the centenary of Gallipoli, I was lucky enough to be involved with the Australian-Turkish Friendship Memorial, the Seeds of Friendship, a sculpture representing a pine cone from Turkey and one of the casuarinas from Australia, representing the seeds of friendship sown for our future. We also show our respect to our fellow Turkish brothers and sisters. And as a mark of respect, the only country that has been allowed to have a Return Services League branch in the RSL in Australia has been Turkey. And that's been a lot of work through their sub-branch president, Ramazan Alintas, a great man and a great friend. From the sunburnt country to the land of four seasons, we offer our friendship and our sincerest congratulations on this, the 100th anniversary of the Turkiye Republic. Of course, we also celebrate this occasion with the Australian-Turkish community that have made their home in our beautiful country and recognise the ongoing contribution they have made to our nation. From the first flight in 1968, made up of 168 Turkish migrants to supply our workforce to the vibrant and growing community we know today. For me, growing up in Broadmeadows, the outer suburbs of Melbourne, I was surrounded by a large and welcoming Turkish community. I was welcomed into their homes, learnt certain parts of the language, some we can't repeat, and the luxury of growing up enjoying their food and sport. The Australian-Turkish community became my friends, my teammates, classmates and neighbours. Friendships that have stood the test of time and shaped me in the person I am today when it comes to my friendship with my Turkish community. I grew up seeing the ongoing commitment the Australian-Turkish community had made to our multicultural society. Turkish migrants often work for 10 hours a day before completing English at night time at school. They did that to provide better opportunities for their families and connect to the Australian community. So to our Australian-Turkish community, I extend my sincere congratulations and best wishes on this momentous achievement. Looking at the relationship between Turkey and Australia now, it is on strong foundations, with continued partnerships that have made both our countries more prosperous and more secure. The relationship I want to highlight is the incredibly important one, is how we supported each other during times of devastation. We saw the support provided by Turkey during Black Summer 1920 with $11.5 million Australia committed to the earthquake to Turkey. Our two countries have built a relationship that will be able to endure the test of time. They are our friends, which is why I rise today to proudly celebrate and acknowledge the centenary of the Republic of Turkiye. Tebrik ederim in Turkish. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Is there a seconder for the motion?
I second the motion and commend the member for McEwen for bringing the motion to the chamber, and congratulations to the Republic of Turkiye on the centenary of being a republic. And also, I know that it'll be celebrated at the mosques and the school that are within Kui of my electorate. I know it's very difficult for some to celebrate at the moment, given the backdrop of the tragedies occurring in the Middle East, but I'm sure that the citizens of Turkiye feel this tragedy very deeply. The Republic of Turkiye, founded on the 29th of October 1923 by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, a general turned politician who rescued his country from the clutches of European rule after the First World War and restructured the remainder of what was once a transcontinental and multicultural Islamic empire into a lean, new Anatolian republic, intending it to resemble Europe more closely. Turkiye's history is intimately tied to Atatürk, described as a secular nationalist leader who prioritised development reforms and separated religion from public life. Atatürk implemented political, social and cultural reforms that changed his country forever, creating new social and political cleavages as Turkish citizens began contesting the meanings of their country's history, their symbols and their identity. During his 15-year reign as president, Mustafa Atatürk abolished the Sultanate. This drove the Ottoman royal family into exile, marking the end of a dynasty that had ruled Anatolia, the Balkans and large parts of the Middle East and North Africa for hundreds of years. Quite an achievement. He also replaced the Arabic script with the Latin alphabet and enshrined women's right to vote. Atatürk died on the 10th of November 1938, leaving a towering legacy as a commander who rescued Anatolia from European occupation after the First World War and fanned a new nation out of the embers of the Ottoman Empire. Even today, Atatürk is deeply venerated throughout Turkiye. His poster is seen on the walls of schools, offices and homes. I don't think there's a lot of photos of politicians, Australian politicians from between the wars on too many Australian schools. I'm told that on the anniversary of Atatürk's death every year, in many places, traffic comes to a halt as thousands observe a minute's silence. In the 80s and 90s, when those of my generation started to travel the world, they all thought that they'd discovered Turkiye for the first time. It was cheap to travel to, beautiful beaches, wasn't commercialised and had a taste of the exotic. The people were incredibly friendly and there was a very strong association with Australia, obviously via Gallipoli. Pilgrimages to Gallipoli have taken place since the 1920s. However, it was in the 1980s that an increased number of Australian travellers began to gather at Anzac Cove in Turkiye for the official Anzac Day ceremony. Backpackers in their hundreds would camp overnight and wait for the dawn service. This became a rite of passage for many young Australians travelling through Europe, and still is. What drove many of those young Australian travellers was their own personal family stories that connected them to Turkiye. My generation is possibly the last generation that had a physical connection to those that had fought on the beaches and trenches of Gallipoli through our great-grandfathers or great-uncles. There were real childhood stories of Gallipoli, fanned by Peter Weir's great Australian film Gallipoli or Alan Seymour's moving play The One Day of the Year. It was a source of pride to have one's own connection to this beautiful country and its generous people who share a very poignant moment of Australian history. Gallipoli remains an important place in the collective memory of many Australians, including within my own family. My wife's great-uncle, Private George Seachley Hodges of the 7th Company, Australian Machine Gun Corps, survived Gallipoli, but like so many, then died on the Western Front in 1917. My wife and I made a pilgrimage to the Menin Gate in Ypres, Belgium, to acknowledge his remains that were never found, like so many Australians. Today, over 33,000 Australians visit Turkiye each year. I'd also like to take this opportunity to express a sincere thank you to the government and people of Turkiye for their ongoing support for those Anzac commemorations at Gallipoli, where I dare say not every Australian is perfectly well behaved. This proceeded this year despite the impact of February's earthquakes. We should also recognise that Turkiye is currently hosting almost 4 million refugees fleeing the conflict on its southern borders, and recognise 4 million refugees. Imagine the coalition, what they do for 4 million refugees turning up in a boat. Recognise that Australia and Turkiye work closely together in Afghanistan on the NATO-led Resolute Support Mission to help build security capacity in the country. Australia opened up our work and holiday maker visa program to Turkey some years ago, so young people from Turkey can come and live and work in Australia for a period of time and make a contribution, making our relationship even stronger for the next generation. Happy centenary anniversary to the people of Turkey.